Greetings and salutations one and all. Welcome to the end of the night shift week. How you doing? I want to say big ups to each and everyone locked in right now. Those on TuneIn Radio, those on PEMGTV.com, those right here at the home of the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew, those tuning in on kevinstew.com. So glad to have you. I couldn't do it without you. You have my word, I wouldn't even try. They're not with us tonight, but I want to make special mention to all the listeners that tuned in on last night and the night before from the Foundation Radio Network, clintonlindsay.com. I want to say big up to the early bird in the stew pot right now, Mr. C.L. Brown, author extraordinaire. Big ups to you, bro.
Everybody out vice, bring the rum and bring the ice, cause we celebrating tonight, yeah. Bring bottles by the case, let we raise up in this place. Please excuse me for my ways. Hey, this thing is a problem.
This is 5-star Akil.
Setting all night.
It's called Find Your Way.
This thing is a problem. Oh, don't care how I look, cause I done hook. They tried to stop me from planting, but I could be there anyway. They tried to stop me from drinking, I done by the bar. They tried to stop me from whining, I done on the ground already. They can't stop my addiction, lock me up if you want. I will always find a way, and I'm jumping anyway. I will always find a way, and I'm pumping anyway. We get to know it's no behavior, we come to get on. We get to know it's no behavior, we come to get on. We get to know it's no behavior, we come to get on. We get to know it's no behavior, we come to get on. Everybody ain't nice, we addicted to the life, so we partying every night, yeah. When you see the sunrise, that don't mean we going inside. You can see it all in my eyes. This thing is a problem. Oh, setting all night. That's what I like. This thing is a problem. Oh, don't care how I look, cause I done hook. They tried to stop me from planting, but I could be there anyway. They tried to stop me from drinking, I done by the bar. They tried to stop me from whining, I done on the ground already. They can't stop my addiction, lock me up if you want. I will always find a way, and I'm jumping anyway. I will always find a way, and I'm pumping anyway. We get to know it's no behavior, we come to get on. We get to know it's no behavior, we come to get on.
I want to say welcome to those tuning in on Facebook Live.
We come to get on. We get to know it's no behavior,
Just remember your visit here is temporary,
it's no behavior, we come
or my visit there.
it's no behavior, we come to get on.
Basically, I'm not here to stay.
We come to get on. It's no behavior, we come to get on.
Remember, everything happens on kevinstew.com. I want to say thanks to my sponsor for this segment of the show, Pulse Media Group. When being in a moment is priceless. You need innovative streaming and recording solutions, give them a call.
We come to get on.
What can they do for you? Everything you see right here on kevinstew.com and more. You have a website?
We come to get on.
You want to create a website?
We come to get on.
Looking for somewhere to host your website?
We come to get on.
Yeah, you can call them about all that. You want to do some streaming on your website like what I do here?
It's no behavior, we come to
They can take care of that too. If you want to stream an event live,
we come to get on. Ooh.
they got you covered. Give them a call, 754-999-6020. Or visit them at pulseemg.com. Tell them DJ Kevin Stew sent you.
It's no behavior, we come to get on. We get to know. It's no behavior, we come to get on. We get to know. It's no behavior, we come to get on. We get to know. It's no behavior.
I want to invite you guys to jump on into the stew pot. That's where we keep things bubbling. For those of you who don't know what the stew pot is, others call it a chat room. But because we're fancy over here on kevinstew.com, it's a stew pot. Numbers to get you in touch. 773-789-STEW. You can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp. If you're overseas and you can't do any of those things, you can Skype. Kevin.stew is a Skype handle. And of course, did I give you the number? 773-789-STEW. 773-789-7839. Yeah, you come to get on. You come to get on. How? Good, bad, indifferent. So the title for tonight's show is Third Eye Seeing. You know, they talk about third eye blind. Yeah, we're looking tonight. Looking at some things that we don't really talk about. Some things that we don't really look into on a regular basis. But they're there. And we often just say, boy, you know, it happened. And for one reason or another, we might call it something or say a little thing about it. But we don't really think about it too much. We don't really ask too many questions about it. We just take it as is so it go. You know, us Jamaicans have that little thing about us, you know, I just saw it go. But sometimes it's a little bit more than that. And sometimes it's just so it go because we can't explain it. And there's nothing wrong with not being able to explain it. There some things are just not meant to be explained away. But sometimes you just have to tell a story or two to drive a point home. And I have even a personal story that I want to share with you guys. I'm not sure if I had ever shared it on the night shift. I may have, because I share so many things with you guys. But I'm not sure. Big ups to Marlon, host of Real Rockers. Real Rockers happens every Monday and Wednesday, 7 to 10, just before my show right here on kevinstew.com. It doesn't happen here on kevinstew.com. Check out Real Rockers. Look him up on social media. Marlon Borrell is his name. Real Rockers is the show page. Real Rockers Radio. Entertaining, edutaining. He is your edutainer extraordinaire. Yeah, it's educating and entertaining, so it's edutaining. You learn so much from Marlon, trust me. And big ups to everybody else in the stew pot right now. Thank you guys, thank you. Call a friend, tell somebody. We're on, we're talking. It's judgment free. It's a judgment free zone all over the night shift. Whether you're on the website, you're on TuneIn, you're texting in, you're WhatsApping in, you're in the stew pot, judgment free zone. We'll just ask that you keep things clean. All right? That's all. Nothing much more to it. Nothing too hard. But your views, your opinions, your experiences are all welcome. Now, science, we know, is quite powerful. There's a lot, though, that science can't explain. In fact, more than it can, in my opinion. That's why scientists always have a job. Because they're always trying to figure out stuff. When people see, hear, or believe something that is not explained, science finds itself trying to prove things that don't exist. And really and truly, that's just simply impossible. It's either it exists or it don't exist. What are you trying to prove? What we're going to do tonight is look at a few things. And a few of them I've picked out and decided that we're going to look at them in a little bit more detail than others. But we're going to run through a bunch of things. From ghosts to man-like beasts to incredible experiences, life and death, thin line spaces, seeing the light and not going through it kind of a deal. You know, things unexplained. But you have to ask the question, is this real? Did that really happen? Or is that just a story that somebody is this fantastic story that somebody just wants to tell, and I don't know, trying to leave some kind of a legacy. We start off with a little city in New Mexico called Taos. Taos. Now, some residents and visitors have for years been annoyed and puzzled by a mysterious and faint low-frequency hum that is out there in the desert here. Now, one of the things that is odd about it is that only about 2% of Taos residents report hearing the sound. Some believe it is caused by unusual acoustics. Others suspect mass hysteria or some secret sinister purpose. Whether described as a whir, whim, hum, buzz, whether psychological, natural, supernatural, no one has yet been able to locate the sound's origin. It's just, again, an enigma. The thing is, a survey revealed that those who claim to hear the sound actually hear many different sounds, suggesting the experiences may be subjective, not actually objective sounds, and pretty certainly not one particular sound. Then you have Bigfoot. Now, I've seen some big feet in my time. I haven't seen Shaq's, but Shaq's feet are pretty big. For decades, large, hairy, man-like beasts called Bigfoot have occasionally been reported by eyewitnesses across America. Somehow, just America. Not Canada, not Mexico. Apparently, Bigfoot doesn't really cross borders, but across America. Now, despite thousands of Bigfoot that may exist for breeding population, not a single body has been found. Not one has been killed by a hunter, struck dead by a speeding car, or even died of natural causes. Now, in the absence of hard evidence, things like teeth, bones, support comes down to eyewitness sightings and ambiguous photos and films. Again, like Thomas, he had to put his hands and, well, according to that book, according to the Bible, I'll call it as it is, according to the Bible, which is the best seller of all time. However, you check the other religious books, they have similar stories. Something to keep in mind. And you've heard me say it before. I'm very spiritual. I'm not religious. And I grew up Christian. So my belief lies in that of God, Jesus, and the story behind it. I don't say that the other books don't count. You'll never hear me say that. Now, back to Bigfoot though. Since it's logically impossible to prove a universal negative, science will never be able to prove that creatures like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster do exist. And it is possible that these mysterious beasts lurk far from prying eyes. It is possible because there are parts of the earth that people have never trod. There are parts of America that I believe are unexplored. But call the people skeptics and skeptical. But there are stories about Bigfoot. You can check them out. Whether we call this thing a gut feeling, a sixth sense, or something else, whatever you want to call it, we all have experienced intuition. At some point in time or another, we've experienced. And if you have not yet, you will. Of course, gut feelings are often wrong, which is interesting. And I'll get to that in a minute. But it's often wrong because how many times during aircraft turbulence have you been sure your plane was going down? Well, I haven't had that experience. The turbulence that I've experienced have not been that severe, where I thought, okay, this is it. Tuck your head between your legs and kiss your tush, but goodbye. No. That hasn't been my experience. But they do seem to be right much of the time. Even that statement in and of itself is kind of puzzling because they're saying gut feelings are often wrong, but they're often right. Psychologists know that people subconsciously pick up information about the world around us, leading us to seemingly sense or know information without knowing it. We don't know exactly how or why we may know it, but somehow we seem to know it. But cases of intuition are difficult to prove or to study. And psychology may only be part of the answer. If your intuition is telling you that the next thing we're going to talk about is something relating to disappearances, then you're right. If it wasn't, don't worry about it. You'll probably get one of them later on before we take the break. Who knows? Follow your guts. Call a friend, tell them to join us. All right? So that is intuition. But you know that intuition thing, that feeling, I think I should just go left instead of going right. And then you go left and then you hear that there was some accident, something that caused major delays on the direction if you went right. And then you go, I knew it. Or the reverse happens. You actually go right, and then you end up in the situation and you go, I should have followed my mind. That is what psychologists call hindsight bias. And if you remember when we looked at biases, we touched on that. So that is science explaining something that happened, explaining a phenomenon. So yeah, that's where science comes in. Now, not to say that gut feeling isn't real. They just put a name to it. Let's go ahead and tack on a description to this, and that's what we're gonna call it. It's just like saying this is grey. That's what we're gonna call it. I don't know who decided what colors are which, but that's it. Now, when it comes to people and disappearing, people disappear for various reasons. Some of them run away. Some succumb to accidents. Some are abducted. Some are killed. But most are eventually found. There are a few really mysterious disappearances, though. From the crew of the Marie Celeste to Jimmy Hoffa, who was said to have been buried under the Yankee Stadium, if my memory serves me correctly. However, that was proven to be false. So they still don't know where Jimmy Hoffa is or is buried or is. He is believed to be dead by now. You have Amelia Earhart. No clue where she disappeared to. Natalie Holloway is another one. And some people seem to have vanished without a trace. Poof, gone. The people in the shiny ship came and got them. The shiny disc. Now, when missing persons are found, it is always through police work, confession, or accident. Never by psychic detectives. But when the evidence is lacking and leads are lost, even police and forensic science cannot always solve the crime. I had the experience where someone disappeared. A whole vehicle disappeared before my eyes. And I wasn't the only person that witnessed it. So here's the story. And Kujo, bless up, bro. Come on over to kevinstew.com. We're gonna be bouncing out a Facebook Live in a few. So come on over. All right, so here's the story. Or do I tell it now or do I go through the rest of these? I still have deja vu to look at. I have ghosts to look at. I have UFOs to look at. Near-death experiences. Okay, let me tell the story. Because I can tell the story going to the break and then come back and talk about these. All right, so it was a Christmas Eve in Jamaica. It was a Christmas Eve. And one of my friends was in town in Kingston. I live in Kingston. And he lives in Port Antonio in Portland. So I was gonna take him home. Quick run to the country and come back. His family, him and his family, friends of mine. And so we jumped into the car. There's one of my, funny enough, I was the only one in the car that was not a pastor's child. We all grew up in the Salvation Army. We all are musicians in the Salvation Army at the time. And I was taking him back. He was going to school in Kingston. I was taking him back to Port Antonio. That's what friends do. Cool. So one of my pastor kids friends, we were having a discussion and he was saying, you know what? Really and truly, I grew up keep hearing about God and all the things that God do for people and God. But now I have my doubts. So we were like, huh? Coming out of your mouth, that kind of strange, because here it is. His parents are pastors. Anyway, nothing strange about that. So we decided, all right, come roll with us. We're going to Port Antonio. Come roll with us. Let's talk a little bit. And he was feeling a bit angry and thing. So we said, all right, let's roll out. Let's do this. So we're heading out to Port Antonio, driving through a place called Junction. Anybody that is Jamaican know of Junction. So we're driving through Junction, and I hit a pothole. Boom. Yep. A tire went flat. All right. Change that tire. I had wheel locks on the car. I left the wheel lock at the site of changing that tire. How did I end up doing that? I am not too sure, but it happened. All right. Let's go on. But I didn't realize that until I hit another pothole. Lost another one. Now, this was a real dilemma because, cars only come with one spare. Right then and there, I look up, there is this little spot. Now, if you know Junction, it's kind of, it's a winding road. It's a 2-lane road. It is hill on one side, a few houses here and there scattered. So everything is kind of scattered. But we just happen to be by this one tire shop. And the guy happened to have been there. And we noticed that he was there because he had this one little lantern lit. In the middle of this journey in Junction, I don't know. It just was. So we're going through Stony Hill, and that was it. Stony Hill through Junction. And so we managed to get that wheel lock off. We knocked and hit it and broke it off. Cool. In doing so, and the guy repaired that one tire. So cool. I'm back in business. In fact, he repaired them both. So now I have a spare and I have that tire fixed for the time being. Cool. All right. We can go again. In the process of taking off that wheel lock, the stud came loose. But we thought, okay, it should be okay. We shouldn't have a problem. Driving along, the wheel locks up. It was one of the back wheels. It locked up. Now, fortunately for me, I wasn't going too fast at the time. And big ups DP, big ups. I think DP might know the story. DP, come on over to the stew pod, kevinstew.com. Jump in the stew pod. So I'm telling the story of taking Junior Oates back to Port Antonio on Christmas Eve. So the wheel locks up because the stud came loose. All right. I come out, look at it, and I'm amazed that nothing was damaged inside the wheel when the stud came loose, because the hub is in there and everything. So stud came loose, it could have caused some damage. No damage. That was what we found out later on. But I figured, okay, we still have a ways to go to get to Portland, because we're in Junction. We still have a ways to go to get to Portland and to Port Antonio. And I need to rig up something to hold this. So I went looking for a wire hanger. No wire hanger in my car. No big surprise there. Anyway, I am looking, not a vehicle coming, not a house nearby to knock on somebody's door and ask them for something. Nothing. Look down the side of where we stopped. It's a precipice, and there's a house down there somewhere because it could see the light, but no clue how to get down there. Here comes a vehicle. And inside this vehicle, the guy stopped and asked if we're okay. And you have a wire hanger? He said yes. He gives us this wire hanger, and I managed to rig something up and secure that wheel stud. I would say, okay, off on the journey once more. Let's go. So he pulls off in front of us, I'm driving behind him, and like I said, this is junction. It's a winding road. So go around the left corner, go around the left corner behind him, go around the right corner, go around the right corner behind him, go around another corner, go around the other corner behind him, go around another corner, come around the corner, he's gone. And we're like, huh? We'll say, okay, he must have turned up into a driveway somewhere right here. And we're looking, and all we can see is hillside and precipice. No driveway. And we're like, okay, how much more can happen in this night? Again, like I said, this is Christmas Eve. And one of my friends was questioning the existence of God. For those of you who are just new to the story, 773-789-STEW is the number that gets you in touch. 773-789-7839. If you want to call in and text in or WhatsApp in, whichever. Right. And this is what I'm saying. Some would say a dopey, that some would say it's an angel that came by. But yeah, the vehicle, the whole vehicle disappeared. And we never saw the vehicle again. Now, the rigging that I did took us safely to Port Antonio. I went to a garage, someone that my friend's parents knew as a mechanic, and he recommended him and called his name, and he took care of us and, checked it out, and everything was good to head back to Kingston. Back to Kingston was lickety split. Boom, quick. But by the time we eventually got to Port Antonio, it's the longest drive to Port Antonio I've ever had in my life. By the time we got to Port Antonio, I was like, listen, I'm tired. And I spent the night there, slept a couple of hours. So welcome Christmas morning. Actually, Christmas morning caught us on the road because it was about 10 o'clock at night and we left Kingston. So midnight came, Christmas came and caught us on the road. I had already called home and said, listen, this is what is happening. I'll be in Port Antonio. I'll let you know and give you an update. Cool. So we got to Port Antonio, had breakfast and everything, and we pulled my friend one side and said, all right, so based on the experience that you just had, do you still think that there is no God? And we didn't wait for an answer. We just left it right there. And we said our farewells for the day, jumped in the car, and headed back to Kingston. And we enjoyed some music on the way, which is what we were supposed to do, because I'm always have music playing and everything. But, it also gave him some time to think and to reflect on what happened tonight. And, even driving back through Junction, going to town, coming back into Kingston, somehow all those potholes weren't an issue. But so you have to take the whole experience into consideration. But this piece of this guy coming along with a wire hanger in the vehicle, just what I needed for the time to do what I needed to do. Rigged up something, drove out behind him, a couple of corners, he was gone. Done. So, who want to call it ghost can call it ghost. Who want to be Jamaican and call it dopey can call it dopey. And who want to say it was an angel that came along and helped, I'm fine either way. Because one, I was safe. Two, we got to where we were going. And three, my friend had a revelation that led him to believe one thing or another, whether it was just to be spiritual or to be religious, whichever way the experience happened, and he came to his own conclusion. Needless to say, I never heard him question if there was a God again after that. But, you know, it is what it is. That's all I can say. It is what it is. So, and someone had actually shared a story with me today, which brought that story back to mind. I had thoughts of doing this after last night's show with Dr. J. Love, talking about Woman's Nest. And I was like, you know, yeah, maybe I should look at this. And when I got that story, I don't know if he wants to call in and share his story that he shared with me, but it would be nice. It would be nice if you call in and shared that story. I'm gonna take a quick little break, say goodbye to the people on Facebook Live, and continue down this list. Anybody that have you've had your story, that experience, you can use my number still. Anybody that have that experience that want to share, go ahead and let's call. Give me a call. 773-789-STEW. 773-789-7839. Bobby, bless up. How you doing? Alright. Facebook Live, I bid you farewell. We're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more. Share some more stories. And see what you come up with at the end of the day, at the end of the night. If it's more questions or do you have some answers? We don't know. But we're seeing things tonight and from a different perspective. 632 says, I'm a spiritualist and your guardian angel and spirit guides are always with us. I believe you can always ask them to help you if you need. That's a good belief. I have no problems with that belief at all. You know, so quick break. We come back. We talk some more. Call a friend, tell a friend. We're seeing with our third eye tonight.
Pulse Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulse Media Group.
It takes an entire village to raise a child. Hello, I'm Paul Campbell, here to talk about Palace. Peace and Love Academic Scholarship. This non-profit group supports students facing serious obstacles from entering or continuing their studies, not because the grades are failing, but due to the lack of financial support.
Over the past 8 years, Palace has awarded 600 scholarships valued at approximately 50.3 million Jamaican dollars, or 415,000 US dollars.
Together, we must build a better future for our children. Please visit www.palace1.org and make your donation to brighten the future of a deserving child. Palace. Palace, preserving young minds for posterity.
I'm Khalid Thompson.
I'm David Muir.
And we are the co-founders of a cultural nonprofit in Florida called Island Space.
For many reasons, now more than ever, we need the support of our communities.
As Caribbean Americans, we have the unique ability to claim everyone from the island as members of our Caribbean American family.
We are working to create a home for that family.
The Island Archives will become an internationally recognized museum of history.
Visitors can learn that although we are unique, we are truly stronger together.
Learn more at islandspacefl.org.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is working to help keep you and your community safe from the threat of novel or new coronavirus. Take the following everyday steps to help avoid the spread of all respiratory viruses. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue. Throw the tissue away and then wash your hands. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects or surfaces, such as remote controls and doorknobs. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. And stay home if you are sick. Call your healthcare provider if you develop fever, cough, or difficulty breathing. For more tips, visit cdc.gov.
It's Christine representing for DJ Kevin. You see me, I say, I don't know the boss. You see me, I say, DJ Kevin Stew and the night shift radio show. Yo, it at the thing, turn up the thing loud. Whoa, DJ Kevin Stew have the heart of a champion. Never underestimate, just choose him. The silver line behind the dark clouds. DJ Kevin Stew believing, and that's no doubt. Salute the night shift radio show, Christine. It's a heart it up. Loud. Kill the beast.
It's been a long time coming. Are you ever gonna change? Are you ever gonna to take advice for how I'm feeling? It's been a long time running, and I know you wanna stay. So I think that it is time we live like we used to. Right all around the city, singing with the top down. Let's take it back to when we were younger. It's been a long time coming, so put on a happy face. Grab my hand so we can let all of our troubles out. There's no care tonight. Take me for a ride. Even when the stars never will align. Even when it's dark and you lose your mind. Oh, right in the moment when your head is confused. Oh, I will stay in the madness with you. Oh, now you're so crazy. Oh, I'm crazy too. Right in the moment when your head is confused. Oh, I will stay in the madness with you. Baby, don't you worry, 'cause you know I understand what it's like to be chewed up and fit out in the cold world. Baby, there's no hurry, as long as you take my hand. We can dance and I won't be the one to let you go. There's no care tonight. Take me for a ride. Even when the stars never will align. Even when it's dark and you lose your mind. Oh, right in the moment when your head is confused. Oh, I will stay in the madness with you. Oh, now you're so crazy. Oh, I'm crazy too. Right in the moment when your head is confused. Oh, I will stay in the madness with you.
The track is called Madness. Artist goes by the name Royce. Want to welcome you back to the show. Those of you tuning in for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. Or returning friends. I want to say thank you for sticking around. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, God is a wonderful creator. Whomever you believe God is, whomever your God is, And I say that because I don't discredit anybody else's creator or who they believe is their creator. Like I said, I grew up Christian, so I believe in God. I want to say thanks to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands for sponsoring this segment of the show. Althea is a licensed massage therapist. She comes to you. So you're in Broad County, North Miami-Dade, South Palm Beach counties. Give her a call, 954-655-9000. Or email her at thealater@att.net. Althea SU has 20 years experience as a massage therapist. She has her oils, she has her table. All you have to do is be present and pay her. And get off her table when she's done, because let me tell you, I didn't share the picture. I'll share the picture. I told you, I give you my word, before this week is out, I'm going to share that picture of me on the table before my massage, before I passed out. So right in the moment, when your head is confused, I will stay in the madness with you. And, you know, I'm so happy that I'm not the only one that have stories. Like I said, I it's like I got the confirmation when I got a message from this guy. And I say big ups to this guy, Mr. CL Brown. CL, welcome, bro.
Well, glad to be here, my brother. This topic is definitely up my alley, you know. And before I even get into it, just want to say a blessed night to everyone in the listenership out there. And you know, there are certain things that even in the natural world, if you're not expecting certain things, if you're not open to certain things cannot come to you.
Right.
You know, it's the same way in the spiritual world. If you're locked down, if you lock your doors and your windows, the rain can't come into your house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I also grew up Christian, and just like you, I subscribe to the Christ and the God of the Bible. But I am more a spiritual person now. So anyway, so my story, this was about 2 weeks ago, and my girlfriend, she left early in the morning to go and do some stuff, but she left some oatmeal on the stove.
Right.
And when I woke up, which was about 8:30 them times, I started a text message saying that, you know, there's oatmeal on the stove, but it's on low. So I came downstairs. It was about 8:55, 9 a.m. in the morning. And this is my routine to feed my daughter, you know, usually porridge or oatmeal.
Right.
And then jump on my daily meeting at the job at 9:25. So when I came downstairs, the oatmeal the stove was on low. So there wasn't even any steam in the pot, no bubbles in the pot, nothing going on.
Right.
And so trying to rush the process now, I put the stove on like medium high-ish. And I put a cover on the pot. She didn't have a cover on the pot, so I put a cover on the pot.
Typical man thing.
Right. Yeah. So when I did that now, then I went to my office area, logged on to my daily meeting. The meeting ran to about maybe 9:35 them ways. And then when the meeting was finished, I happened to look outside, and something pulled me outside on the patio. I couldn't tell you what it was, but something pulled me outside.
Yeah.
So I went out there, and I have some leaf of life growing in pots out there. And I'm looking at the leaf of life, and I saw like the dew from the night before on one of the leaves. And I had a flashback about being in Jamaica, and just this almost like a spiritual moment, something like triggered inside of me. So I said, you know what, let me pray. And Ms. Amanda, I believe that all things are conscious. I believe that all things are within the Creator.
Right.
So be it a butterfly, be it a plant, be it a human being, a lion, I believe everything is of and from and within the creator, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I stooped down and I held the leaf with the water in there, and I began to pray, um, giving thanks for the morning, giving thanks for leaf of life that is really medicine for our bodies, giving thanks for the wind and all these type of things. And then my daughter came outside. She's 2 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and she can open the door. So she opened the door. She came outside, and she sat on the on the patio chair next to me. So then I still had my eyes closed, but I grabbed her by the bottoms of her feet,
Yeah.
as if as a father to bless her path in life, and I'm praying for her, right?
Right.
And then I felt she had something in her. I think maybe my cell phone or something like that. But she took one of her hands and put it on my head. And if you would have taken a picture, it was almost so seem as though I'm praying for her and she praying for me at the same time, which is
Nice.
a possibility, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I finished praying for her now, me and her came back on the inside, and she saw this ants, and she have a thing with ants because she's afraid of them, but she also likes to be around them,
Mm.
right? And she's freaking out. So I said, let me put the ants outside because I don't kill things. I don't kill anything that I don't have to kill.
Right.
So I put the ants outside, and I close the door, and then right then I smell something burning. I remember
Mm.
the oatmeal, right? So now this now is about probably 10 a.m. or close to it, right? So I ran to the kitchen and I saw that the oatmeal had spilled over onto the
It
stove,
boiled over because you had covered.
boiled over, right? Boiled
Right.
over on the stove. And so the first thing I did was I went to turn the burner off, and I realized the burner is off. So I stopped in my tracks. And I'm like,
Mm.
who turned the burner off? Because there's nobody else here, right? So my daughter is there, and it's like my mind is now like wandering and just questioning and thinking. And I took the pot off the stove, and I'm cleaning the pot off, and then I began to clean the surface of the stove off. But I'm still thinking, who turned the burner off,
Right.
right? So then I start thinking, okay, maybe this stove, and mind you, many times in the past, the stove had boiled over, and the burner stayed on until I turned it off. So I said, let me go ahead and search on Google and see if this stove has some type of safety feature, whereby if the thing boils over on the stove, it will shut itself off, right? So I'm
Okay.
searching on Google. I can't find anything. Um, I went as far as getting the model number from the stove in the back of the stove, put that in Google, and I found the actual Whirlpool stove. Um, Reading all the specs, reading the features on there, nothing that says there's an auto shut off feature, right? So I say, you know what? At that point, from the beginning, I knew what was going on, but
Yeah.
I needed to hush the doubt in my mind, the question in my mind, right?
Right.
So I decided, say, I'm gonna call the manufacturer. So I called Whirlpool, and the the computerized system came on and said, oh, you have a 15-minute wait time. So I put the phone down on speakerphone, and I'm there listening to the background music. Then the thing come on, it says your wait time is 17 minutes. So why is it going up? Right? So then it came on again, and it says your wait time is 23 minutes. And by this point, I'm thinking, I should just hang up, right?
Right.
But at the time I was working anyway, so I said, you know what, let me just make the thing wander on. And then a lady came on, and I said to her, I have one of your stoves, and I'm trying to see if there's a feature on there whereby it will shut itself off if there's a spill. She said, you have the wrong department, let me transfer you. She transferred me, and again the machine came on and said, your wait time is 29 minutes. Right? So at this point now, I seriously thought about like hanging up,
Right.
but I said, you know what,
You
let me
shouldn't be
wait,
questioning anything, right?
right? So I said, let me go ahead and wait. And then I wasn't checking the time to see how long it was, but maybe say 15, 20 minutes in, somebody came on the phone. And I said to her, yeah, let me change what I'm going to say, because let me pretend as though I'm trying to buy one of your stoves.
Mm.
So I said to her, I said, yeah, I'm looking to buy one of your stoves. I said, I think it's what you call like out of manufacturing when they stop manufacturing them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
Because
discontinued.
because it had said that on one of the websites that I saw earlier.
Right.
So I said, I think it's discontinued, but I said, I want to know if it has a safety feature whereby if there's a spillage, it will shut itself off. And I said, I have a model number for it. And she said, what's the model number? And I gave it to her, and I could hear her searching on her computer. And then she said, that stove has a glass top. And I said, yeah. I said, I know. And she said, there's no way for anything to spill under the glass. And I said, no. I said, I'm not thinking it's spilled under the glass. I'm saying if something spilled on top of the glass, will the stove shut itself off? And then she got quiet, and she was, I guess, still reading up stuff. And then she came back and she said, no, if there's a spillage, you have to turn the stove off manually. And this is one of those stoves where you actually have to manually turn the knob.
Yep.
So it's not a push button thing, and
Yep.
So something, when the stove spilled on, when the thing spilled on the stove, something went there and turned that stove off.
Yeah.
And people will say what they want to say. I know what it is.
Right.
I have zero doubt in my mind as far as what it is. But that's my story.
Yeah, and in truth and in fact, that's all that matters. People can say whatever they want to say. They didn't have your experience.
Right.
So go on, say what you want to say. Here is my experience, and this is what I am saying about it. And I am just sharing my experience. You will take from it whatever you want to.
Yeah.
But I'm sharing my experience. See,
Yeah.
when you shared this with me, I was like, on one hand, it brought tears to my eyes, no lie. But it was tears of joy. It was such a good feeling that I was almost overwhelmed with joy to the point of tears.
Yeah.
The point of you connecting with nature and recognizing what was happening in nature and having that connection, and then your daughter coming out, a precious gem that she is. Oh my goodness, I just love this girl.
Thank you.
And for you to be present enough to be blessing her path and to recognize that she is a blessing to you also, to give that gratitude, and then for her to lay her hand on you in such a similar fashion.
Yeah.
It's all a part of the experience, and that is a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
And everything that happened then and there, people just look at it and go, oh, that is sweet. Some people would just look and go, oh, that is sweet. There's nothing like a daddy and a daughter. But there's so much more to it. Yeah, there's nothing like a daddy and a daughter, but there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
And even with as we were talking and in the break just now, when you were talking about last night, even that in and of itself, nothing happens by accident. It's just for us to recognize what it is, that moment that we're in, and what is happening in that moment.
Yeah.
And typically that recognition doesn't come with the two eyes that you have in your head. Which is why I call tonight's show Third Eye Seeing. Because oftentimes you talk about the third eye, people just go to third eye blind.
Because the thing is, a lot of people, they want to see, I guess it's that doubting Thomas thing, right? You want to see something physical, but at the end of the day, it's everyone who believes in God.
Yes.
I would dare say they believe that God is a spirit, right?
Right.
And they will say to you that God created us in his image and likeness, right?
Right.
So if spirit creates you in their image and likeness, then what are you? Right?
Exactly.
And people will say, well, we have a soul. Well, the soul is not physical.
Right.
right? So essentially, you're saying you are a spirit being, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some people don't really know how to. I wouldn't say they don't know how to. I wouldn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not open to spiritual things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you are a spirit being, you should be.
Right.
You know, it's just that we come from a world where you get one of two teachings in society. They teach about physical
Mm-hmm.
existence or nothing at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
If science can't prove it, then there's no proof to it. It doesn't exist.
right, doesn't exist. You know, so because one thing I've always said, you know, even in the Bible when it said that Jesus, when he came to the tree that had no fruit, and he cursed the tree, so you will bear no more fruit from here on out. And when they came back past, the tree was dead.
Right.
Right. Well, how can you speak to something and give something a command, right? Unless it has the ability to understand that command,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So he understood that that tree was a living being. It's a
Right.
living thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's why he was able to speak into it and give it a command, you know? And I think when we begin to understand that all things in life are spiritual and that all things are sacred because, you know, people say, well, God created the earth and give it to man as a garden.
Mm-hmm.
Then if God is perfect, like people say, and God made no mistake, then how can you say, well, the rat has no purpose, or the birds have no purpose, or
Yeah.
this have no purpose?
Yep.
Everything must be important,
Exactly.
you know? So that's my 2 cents.
Much appreciated, bro. Much appreciated.
Yeah, man, likewise, brother.
For those of you who don't know, CL is quite the writer. I encourage you to check him out. Look for him on social media. Look for him on. In fact, you're here, CL. How can people find you?
You can find me on my website is authorclbrown.com, authorclbrown.com. If they're on Instagram, it's at authorclbrown. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/authorclbrown. And if they want to get in touch with purchase books, the books are available online on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, everywhere. And so that's how they can get in touch.
And every now and then on his Instagram, you might see him drop some gems from some of his work, and mind blowing, just phenomenal. Much respect, CL. Thank you.
Much respect, brother.
Yeah, man. Stick around for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Come on.
All right, 773-789 Stu gets you in touch. Comments here in the stew pot. Loved ones from the spirit world or guardian angel spirit guides are there with us. I want to say good morning, top of the morning to you, hailing from the UK. Top of the morning to you. It's quite early there, so yeah, for you to be tuned in right now, much loved, much appreciated. All right, what is going on with this device here? Okay, here we go. And Bobby says, believing in God, my life path has been defined only by God's glory. If I look back 5 or 10 years to predict where I would be now, I'd be 100% wrong in my prediction. I can't explain anything in my life. Honestly, I just sit and pray. And that is fine. That is perfectly fine. Hello.
Hello. Good night.
We might have to get a voice disguiser for you.
Okay, how about if I lower my voice like this? Will that work?
The people just think, well, I'm George a horse.
I don't need a disguise for my voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Healing Heavenly Hands. Oh, you just call in your segment. I don't get it. Oh, your segment is over. It is now the Reggae Global segment. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Althea SU. Miss Thea, how are you?
Yes, sir. I am doing great. How are you?
I am well. I am well. I can't wait for my next massage. I've been having a headache all week, and I think I need your healing heavenly hands to help me out. So let me just let you know right now.
Consider it done.
Okay, great. All right. So you have a story for us?
Yes. Um, this was about 10, yeah, about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had the opportunity to go to Indianapolis to visit a college. One of my customers from my previous employer was on the board of Anderson University, and we would talk about it all the time, and she just thought it was the best university, and she met my daughter at the time and just thought that would be a perfect place for her to attend.
Okay.
And long story short, she arranged it, and the board members of the university put together, and they flew my daughter and I there, first class, all expense paid trip for 5 days, so
Nice.
that she could, yeah, so that she could, have the college experience. And they put us up in 5-star hotel,
Mm-hmm.
rented a car. I mean, nothing. I did not have to spend $1 out of my pocket. So, while she actually got to stay in the dorms for 3 of the 5 days.
Okay.
And,
That in and
so
of itself is a blessing.
yes, so it was a really great opportunity, and she was so excited.
Mm-hmm.
So we spent 5 glorious days in Indianapolis, driving around, seeing different things. And this was my first time there. I'd never been there before.
I've never been to Indianapolis. No lie.
It's
I went there for one day.
okay.
When I was living in Chicago.
Yeah, so anyway, we got ready to come home, and I think we had an early morning flight. I think it was between 7:30 and 8:30. So got up, got dressed, got everything, and we had to get to to the airport an hour before, because I had to turn in the
rent a car.
car,
Mm-hmm.
to rent a car before my flight. So got and the car came with a GPS, so everything was awesome.
Nice.
So we're riding. There's not a lot of traffic, because it was like between 5 and 5:30 that we left the hotel. We checked out and left the hotel. And on the way to the airport, and like, wow, this is nice. We're gonna get to the hotel, get to the airport early, turn in the car, probably have something to eat before we get on the flight. So we're driving, following the GPS directions, and about 2 or 3 miles out,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, this hotel, why do I keep calling the airport a hotel? This airport, what's going on with it? There's no traffic, because for such a busy city,
Mm-hmm.
You are going to start seeing some type of traffic as you're entering the airport. And I'm
Right.
pulling up, and there's no traffic. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, this is where the GPS brought me. It was an airport, because the signs said so. However, there was not one car.
Mm?
And, it gets better. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? And I I'm driving around trying to figure out what am I going to do because there's nobody there for me to ask. So I pulled into one of the parking garages, and I'm sitting there, and I think Tara she probably fell asleep or something because I was there by myself trying to figure out how am I going to get out of here. I have no idea where I am. Don't know the city.
And the GPS says you're in the
And
right
yeah, the
place.
GPS, yes, said I'm at the airport. So I was trying my best not to panic. And I'm sitting in the car, and as I'm about to, I think I was about to back out of the spot and go back out and, try to find somebody to ask directions.
Right.
This lady, she had on a tan, she had on a security guard uniform. It was a tan top and dark brown pants.
Mm-hmm.
And she came up, and I'm like, okay, where did this person come from? She got out of a vehicle. I didn't hear the vehicle drive up or anything. She got out and she came, and, I was like, oh, thank you, God. There's somebody here. I can find out how to get out of here, or at least what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't scared. And I put the window down, and I'm like, she goes, you look a little, you look a little lost. I think that's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I'm supposed to be at the airport. We have such and such a time flight. And this is where the GPS took us. And she started smiling. And I'm like, okay, why is this woman laughing at me? And she goes, no, no, no. I guess she must have saw that puzzled look on my face. She goes, no, 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 no. The airport, that was the old airport. And the new airport was open less than 6 months, and apparently they did not update
the GPS.
the GPS in Google Maps. So I'm like, oh, thank you, God, I'm not losing my mind. So, I mean, by this point, you can, imagine my relief that there's somebody there that told me what happened, and this person is going to, she goes, no problem, I'll tell you how to get out of here. And if you follow these directions, you'll get to the airport. You may miss your flight because it's a little way off, and but it's not busy time of the year, so you should be able to get on another flight.
Mm-hmm.
So standing there, I'm sitting in the car. She's standing outside. She's giving me directions, and as she's talking, I felt this peace came over me.
Yeah.
And I think I wrote. I can't remember anything from Adam, so I'm pretty sure that I wrote down as she was giving me the directions to get out of there, because she says, "Do not put it in the GPS."
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you," and I said, "You are a lifesaver." And I turned to put the piece of paper on the seat next to me, because Taylor was passed out. Yeah, she was sleeping, so she had no idea what was going on. She was passed out in the back seat.
Mm.
And I turned to put the piece of paper down and turned back to say bye to the lady, and there was nobody there. And as I'm telling you this, I am literally getting chills. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, I looked on the piece of paper, and there was something written on it. I didn't know where I was, so somebody had to have given me instructions or directions on how to get out of this this airport parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear a vehicle, the engine of a vehicle drive away. And I was like, okay. And kind of like when you shake your head and expect for everything to just
Make sense?
make sense. Yes,
Mm.
it didn't. And I just started smiling, and tears started running down my eyes, down my face. And I just started just like, thank God, thank God. And I did not believe in, I mean, just like yourself, I was raised as a Christian,
Yeah.
and I've heard about spirits and angels, that they do exist, but the way that it was taught to me, it was an angel did not look like you and I, did not look like a normal human being.
Mm.
That when you saw an angel, you would know because
The bright light and
the
the
bright light and the
wings
and the wings.
and
Yeah,
the
yes,
halo.
yes.
Right.
And I just, it's kind of hard to explain the peace. I don't think I've ever had that feeling ever again.
Mm.
And I'm looking around, and I got out of the car, and I'm looking, okay, where did the car go? It was an SUV. Where did this vehicle go? I didn't hear it drive up. I didn't hear it drive away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, thank you, God. And I knew that because of those incidents, that was an angel that was sent to me to, number one, get me out of there, calm my mind and my nerves, and to get me on the right path. And I mean, I followed the directions to the T, and I was back on that highway in no time
Mm-hmm.
and headed to the airport. I did miss my flight, but they were able to get us on another flight. It was like 3 or 4 hours later, but we were still coming home.
Right.
And that's my story.
Nice. And it's just like what CL said just now. We're created in the likeness.
Yes.
So to think that an angel is going to look like something else, really and truly, is a little bit of a stretch.
But as when you're conditioned a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
what else do you have to believe in except for what you have been told your whole life or what you've been taught?
Right, right, right.
So from that point on, whenever anything happened that I'm not able to explain and said, okay, this is why this is what happened, this is who did it. I've been in situations where, and this is another, oh my goodness, do I have time to share one more story?
Oh yeah.
I
And
was,
and anybody else that wants to call in, you can do so. 773-789 Stu. You can still call in. If you just want to talk to Althea and arrange for a massage, you can do that too.
what, oh man, oh, thank you.
773-789-7839.
You're hired as my manager and my marketing consultant, okay?
By all means, as long as you lay those healing hands, I am good.
You got it. But yeah, I forgot about this one until um this was a few years after that, and I was coming home from work.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Lauderhill, and I worked in Pompano, so I was on I-95 coming home. One evening, I had to close the office, so it was about 6:15, 6:30,
Mm-hmm.
driving on the highway, and I never, ever drive in the two left lanes on the highway.
Oh, go speed
Eh?
racer.
No. I never drive. I never.
Oh,
I always stay in the right lanes.
oh, right. The two left lanes are the high speed
Or for
lanes.
uh,
Yeah.
for the high speed. So This one even I don't consciously remember actually getting into that lane.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, there was not a lot of traffic and I'm driving and I had just passed Atlantic Boulevard coming up to Cypress Creek Road. And my peripheral vision caught a vehicle coming onto the highway. And no kidding, that stretch when you get on I-95 at Atlantic, you have the right lane.
Yeah.
When you get onto the highway, you don't have to merge immediately.
Right. Right.
And this car, I think I might have been going like 60, 65. It was a gray pickup truck. And I kid you not, that car had to be entering the highway at least 100 miles an hour. Could have been more, but it wasn't less.
Jeez.
Now, can you imagine what what would have happened had I been in the right lane, the two right lanes, like I normally would drive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I saw the vehicle coming so fast, and I was like, "Oh my God, the person's gonna run into me. They're gonna hit my car." And I thought of everything bad that could happen. So I just floored my car. I was like, I am getting out of Dodge. And I was holding on to the wheel with steering wheel with both hands, and as I'm
Strangling the
driving,
steering wheel.
literally, as I'm driving, I looked in my rear view mirror and I heard pow.
Mm.
The car, as it was entering the highway, did not stop, and it just started to veer to. It's like it was merging, and a car came that was driving and hit it, and that's what I heard, the loud pop, loud bang,
So it didn't hit a car, but a car hit it.
because of when it was coming onto the highway.
Yeah, but he was coming on so fast. He should have hit
Right.
somebody.
Listen, I don't know. I can't explain it. But
Wow.
when I was looking, and this was all in like a split second, but it was like in slow motion.
Mm.
And instead of merging, it looked like it just turned and I don't know if this person was trying to commit suicide or what was going on. But the moment I looked up in my rearview mirror, it's like I saw the passenger side. That when I was looking back in my rearview mirror, so the car was, and I don't know if something else hit it, but when I mean, I don't know if he hit somebody, but when I look back in my rearview mirror, another vehicle was coming towards it, and it hit it.
Right.
That car, that truck went airborne and came down.
Wow.
Now, this is where it gets scary.
Like
I'm
that wasn't
driving.
scary enough.
As I'm driving, I was the only vehicle. Because by this time, all the other vehicles was caught in the traffic, and I don't know if people stopped or whatever, but I'm coming down the stretch
To the exit.
to turn. No, I wasn't even getting off at Cypress Creek.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, I was all the way over in the left lane by this time.
Right.
And where the road curves just before you get to the Cypress Creek exit,
Right.
going towards Commercial, I looked up and there was absolutely no vehicle. I was the only vehicle, and I just kept driving, and I started crying. No, I started bawling. That was no cry. I was bawling.
Yeah. that is, that these are the things, the experiences that I don't normally do this, but somehow I ended up doing it. Hey, it was a guiding hand. It was a a word you heard. It was something. It just didn't stop. It's not always just you. And once you believe, again, you created in and of the Spirit, the Creator. So why wouldn't you be in tuned? Even if you're not constantly in tune, why wouldn't you hear? Why wouldn't you
Right.
be receptive to some of these things? And you know what? If you check it out at that very moment, someone could have been praying for you.
Don't doubt it. My mother always.
At that very moment.
And ever since that incident happened, whenever I'm driving, as you know, you especially if you're driving, if you're going on a route that you always go, and I'm gonna use work. Most of us usually take the same route to work more
Yeah.
times than not.
Right.
And if I get it's like I could hear a voice in my head, don't drive this way,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't. I'll be driving home from work and hear the voice, turn here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am not that person that's gonna say, oh, but this is where I always drive home. And you know what? I'm just, and I don't know if it's paranoia or obedience, what that causes me to listen to that voice.
Now people will say
And
it's Bluetooth.
well, my Bluetooth, I'm fancy now. My Bluetooth is connected to my phone. Bluetooth is connected to Bluetooth in my car. So
Right, right. So even more reason why people will say, no, it's not just a voice you hear, it's a radio, it's a Bluetooth connected to that you hear in
no,
the radio.
no, they can call it whatever they want. I just know that
People will find a way to explain it away because that,
yeah,
again,
and
this is how science
I
works.
don't.
And more often than not, we are drawn to things that science says as proof, and then we go with that physical hard proof, to say this is what is. Hey Tracy, and good evening. Greetings. Welcome to the show. Earlier Sale was saying, your story was giving him chills. Bring it on, Sale. Bring it on. Bring it on. Because
But
tonight's the night for it. Bring it on.
it's like if we don't have an explanation for
Mhm.
something, sometimes we can't let it go. We keep searching and searching and searching for that explanation rather than just allow it to be what it is.
Oh yeah. And again, those who grew up going to church, you always hear, you need to be obedient to the Spirit. You need to be receptive to the Spirit. Well, you hear voices. Why you think it's not the Spirit? Yeah, it might sound crazy, it might sound away, but why couldn't it be? Why? Because there's no explanation to say it is this, or this. There are a bunch of things that we experience that have no explanations. Doesn't mean that it didn't
Or
happen.
if we can't see it, it's not real.
Well, you can't see the breeze, but you'll go fly a kite.
And you heard I don't you probably heard this story before about the gentleman who had a toothache, didn't believe in God,
Mm.
and had a toothache. And somebody asked him, how do you know? No, you don't believe in God. Oh, yes. Well, if I can't see it and I can't feel it, then it doesn't exist.
Mm.
And he says, oh, can you see your toothache? No. Then how do you know you have a toothache? Because I can feel it.
Right.
The person was like, yeah, the person just walked away.
There you go. That's it right there. Oh, CL has another story. Bring it, CL. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. God, right now. Let's hear it. Althea, thank you very much. I do appreciate of you
Anytime.
sharing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, these are the things. These are the things. And people, don't think that this is not real. It's very real.
It happens to you. If it happens to you, whether you have an explanation or not, it's your story. It's not
Yeah.
mine. It's not anybody else's. It's your story.
What is happening? Why is my device acting crazy? I hear
Because
you
I'm on.
calling
Oh,
CL.
because I'm on it.
I don't know. Probably. All right, you hang up so I can get CL.
Okay, then I'll be listening.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
All right. Strange things happening with the devices. All right. Okay, here we go. CL.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, man. Hearing you fine.
All right. So my mother passed away in 2014, right?
Right.
And
May her soul rest in peace.
respect, thank you, brother. So maybe about 2 years after she passed, I kept seeing the number 333. If I check the time, it would be 3:33. I was seeing 333 everywhere.
Right.
And I had heard people say, or I've seen stuff online that said you're seeing these numbers in repetition, it means something. So
Right.
one day I Googled it and briefly read something that said something to do with guardian angels watching over you or trying to communicate with you or something. But I didn't pay too much attention. So one day I was at work and I was working and I happened to look at the computer at the time. For whatever reason, I just looked up at the time and it was 3:33.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, there's something going on here. So I stopped working. I walked over to my coworker. His name is Marlon Burrell as well. Not the same Marlon Burrell from Facebook, but
Right.
I walked over to him and I said to him, yo, I keep seeing this 333 number. People say it's this and that, and what do you think? Because he's a Christian brother, so I said, and he said he don't really know. So I said, you know what? There's something going on here, so I'm gonna look into it. So I went back to my desk and I went on Instagram and I posted a picture and I put 333 and below it I put what do you see, and I posted it, right?
Right.
So the wife of an ex coworker of mine, she commented and she said 3, 6, and 9 are master numbers, and she said my husband knows more about it. I'm gonna tell him and have him comment on it. And he never did, but anyway. So I went home that night, went to sleep, woke up the next morning and reached for my phone, not really looking for that post, but I noticed there was a Instagram notification that there was a comment. So I checked the comment and some person commented on my picture and said, a guardian angel or some angel is trying to reach out to you, right? So I commented back and I said, yeah, I read it on Google, but thank you, right? Wasn't really thinking too much about it. But I happened to click on their profile to see who this person was. There was no pictures. It was just like, it was obviously a very spiritual site, right? Everything about spirituality.
Right.
And the person, their bio said, it read 333, thanks for following me, right? And they had 333 followers, right? So I screenshot it and then I went to the bathroom to shower for work. When I came out the bathroom, I saw a text message on my phone, and it said, Sister Betty says she's okay. You can move on now. Now, Sister Betty is what we call my mother. So I figured it was one of my siblings. So I said, who is this? Because I didn't have her number saved, and it was my sister, Michelle.
Right.
And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, I had a dream last night that I was at your house, and you was upstairs, and there was a woman calling you, but you couldn't hear her. And she heard the voice, but she couldn't see the woman. But she said to the woman, Sister Betty, is that you? And the voice said, yes. And tell Prince, that's what my family calls me. Says, tell Prince that I'm okay and he can move on now. When my sister told me that, it literally broke me. Like I ended up crying the morning because I knew what the message was, but I wasn't ready to receive it, because for me it was like, you're telling me to leave it behind and keep going on the path, right?
Right.
And so I cried, and I think for about 3 days I cried and kind of mourned. And then by the third day I kind of accepted it, right? Now when I accepted it, the numbers stopped appearing like it was. So here for me, here's where it get really interesting. About a year and a half later, I was working on my third book. I was editing the book. And during the time of my first book, from like 2015, 2014, I used to write in these journals.
Yeah.
But I stopped writing those journals from I published the first book in 2015. And my third book now, this is now in 2018, right? And one day I was going to go edit on my tablet, my laptop, and something said, that little voice says, take one of your old notebooks just in case the computer battery dies and you want to keep writing. I haven't done that in years. I said, okay, whatever. So I saw one sitting on my desk and I grabbed it, right? So I went outside and I sat by the water fountain and I was editing. And when I edit to a certain point and I feel like I'm done, I'll just stop editing.
Right.
So the battery did not die. I closed the laptop and I said to myself, let me just go through this book and see like some of my old writings, what I was talking about. And I'm flipping the pages from front to back. Flip maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 pages in. And then I started seeing blank pages. And then that voice said, flip the book over and start going from the back to the front. Now, it's not a practice of me to write from back to the front of my book, right? So I had no reason to think to go to the back of the book and flip forward.
Right.
But I flipped it over and I opened the back page and I saw there was like some scribbles, not poetry, just like notes I took or whatever. And I'm flipping and I'm flipping and I'm flipping. And I don't know how many pages in I flipped. And I saw my handwriting says Sister Betty's driver's license number. Right? And when I looked at her driver's license number, the number 333 is in her driver's license number. And I don't mean like 343. I mean 333 consecutively.
Wow.
Is in her driver's license number. And when I saw it, like I had goosebumps.
I have goosebumps right now.
Man, listen, I had goosebumps and I texted my sister and I was like, I took a picture of it, sent to my sister, and I was like, because I had told my sister about the story before.
Right.
And I was like, this is the confirmation. But the confirmation came about maybe, like I said, about a year and a half after my sister gave me the message. You know, so people talk about dopey and stuff like that, but I know that, like we say, we are spirit, and spirit is energy. Energy cannot die, cannot be created. I mean, cannot be destroyed.
Hey, listen, that very statement you just made earlier this evening, as I was setting up for the show, I got done with the 9 to 5, setting up for the show. And as in true conversation with a friend of mine. And I was telling her about what we're going to be what I'm going to be talking about tonight. And she was sharing with me that she had a couple of stories herself, and even about spirits, evil spirits, following her home because she went with friends to go have prayer meeting at another friend's house, only to end up in a whole exorcism.
Wow.
Have no business being in it, and a couple of the spirits followed them home, and it became a thing. Anyway, before she got to telling me that story, those very words I said to her, I said, even looking at us as living beings, we're energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So why can't we have some of these experiences? And we're talking about deja vu, which we didn't even touch on tonight. I guess next week I'm going to probably have to continue this because I'm going to go into musical therapy right after talking to you. And we were talking a little bit about deja vu, and she was saying, well, she believes that you could have that experience, have had that experience before spiritually, and now you're living it in real time. And I was saying, well, if energy cannot be created nor destroyed, that means that whatever it is that we're experiencing could very well be cyclical. We look at time in a linear sense, but the world is round and it travels in a circle.
But before you go and dig this, because I had this, I was talking to someone maybe a few weeks ago, and I didn't premeditate this, but when I was talking to the person, I ended up saying to the person, I said, life has to be cyclical because everything spins. The earth spins, the sun spins, the galaxy spins, the universe spins.
There
Everything
you go.
is spinning.
There you go.
But anyway, continue.
You see, I love that we're on the same page with this. So here's my take on it, and just like you, not premeditated. This was my take as we were in that moment. We say pretty much consider time in a linear sense, but everything spins, like you said. And so the world is round, the world is in orbit around the sun. So, and things have a way of coming back around. If you watch fashion, you watch trends, you watch anything, things have a way of coming back around. And we have these experiences. So if energy cannot be created nor destroyed, then really and truly, we could have had that experience before. That moment that we were talking about deja vu, we really could have had that experience before in another time, in another place. Well, the same place, just another time. And our conscious now caught up to our subconscious, or in this case, probably our superconscious. I don't know if there's such a thing, but it's a higher space, it's a higher plane.
Right.
So why couldn't it have happened? The concept of reincarnation had to come from somewhere. Just how we use our minds, and even science says we don't use the full capacity of our brains.
Right. So
if we were a little bit more in tuned, why couldn't we be a little bit more aware?
There's a condition, that some very rare condition, I forgot what it's called. If anyone knows, they'll say. But I was watching a documentary, and these individuals, they have this very rare, call it a disease. What do you want to call it? A disease, whatever. But they, like one of the guys, his ability is that if you tell him, like if you tell him like what day is gonna be like in the year 65, blah blah, he could tell you the exact day, and he's 100% right every single time. You could he has this thing where he can pick up dates.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about he's gonna sit there and think about it. You ask him and he answers your question immediately. you know. And if you're familiar with the theory of quantum entanglement,
Mm.
right, and how it says like if two, so I think something like if two atoms are created at the same time, no matter how far apart they're separated,
They're
if
connected.
you they're connected,
Mm.
you know.
You need
So
to be careful with the word entanglement these days, you know, because. But yeah, and it's not far fetched in my feeble mind. I don't see it as far fetched. I'm no scientist. I'm no DR. I'm a DJ, and my science is music. However, I still have a brain with which I think, and over time, learning things and having experiences, you can. Well, if you're not growing, then you're dead. So there has to be change. And it's a Rain Man theory. 632 out of the UK is saying the Rain Man theory. I guess in response to your story, CL. So,
okay.
but we grow along the way, and if we're not changing, we're dead. So
Yeah.
we should be learning as we go along. And it's not to say that we discard or discredit any information that we come across. The information is there for us to learn something from it. And these experiences are they don't happen in a vacuum. You and I cannot have the same thought patterns the same perspective on something like this, and we've never had a discussion about it.
You know, as I just said that, I remember maybe about 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was at work. I worked at Dade County at the fire department, and I'm in my office. And I've always been a person that was always searching spiritually.
Right.
And a thought came to my mind, and I said, because remember what I said earlier about I don't kill things, I don't kill animals unless I really have to, like a mosquito or something. I try not to kill anything, right?
Right.
And a thought came to my mind back then, and I said, when I, as a human being, exhale carbon dioxide,
Mm-hmm.
the tree takes that in and produces oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lizard breathes in that oxygen, exhales carbon dioxide, the tree takes that in,
Mm-hmm.
creates oxygen, and I breathe that in.
Right.
Right? And that day, I said, I'm going to stop killing things. Right? And I went on Facebook and I posted on Facebook that this epiphany I had, this revelation I had, and my brother's girlfriend, she replied and she said something about roaches, and I said, well, yeah, roaches can get killed, but but I said anything else, try not to kill, because everything I said, everything is sacred, everything is consciousness. Well, maybe about 2 or 3 years after that, I'm watching YouTube, and I was listening to one of these Native American chiefs speaking,
Mm-hmm.
because I there's something about those people that fascinate me, right? And this man said, now mind you, in their culture, they have the bison, they have the eagle, they have the wolf. These are the animals that they really hold near and dear, and right?
Yeah.
And I'm listening to the guy, and the guy said, I kid you not. The guy said, when we exhale carbon dioxide, the tree takes that in and produces oxygen. The lizard breathes that oxygen in. Right. The man gave the same exact
Yeah.
human beings, trees, and lizards. And you say to yourself, well, why do you have to say lizard? Why not say the bison, the buffalo, or the eagle, or the wolf, or
Right.
these things that are prevalent in your culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the thing is, when you're searching for certain things and you get the answer, because the thing is, the creator gave me the answer back then,
Right.
but I needed the confirmation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And therefore, he had to make the confirmation in such a way where I would not question what was happening.
Right.
So yeah, man.
And it happened then to you. It happened to me today with that very same analogy that you mentioned about energy and about everything happening in an orbit.
Yeah.
So things come around. So, and we are connected. Anybody that thinks that we are not connected, there's another thing coming. We're energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Once energy stops flowing through us, we die. The way our brains communicate with our bodies send signals through it, it's electric signals.
Yes. Remember, when you have like a cardiac arrest, what do? They shock your body with electricity.
They put electricity through you to restart your heart.
Yes.
You cannot live without energy. It's commented here in the stew pot. My wife was in a coma for 2 months, near death, and she has had many blessings of visiting angels, physical in the night throughout her life. He was cut in half of the earth. That's interesting. A 500 blood pressure. The list goes on. I've seen her strong spiritual walk. God chose who she must tell the story, and so many stories. The list goes on. It's deep. Yeah. We're so connected. And
absolutely.
Oh, half her body. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're so connected, and we're connected through energy. And the moment we come to realize it is the more connected we get. And once we close our eyes and connect with each other, it eliminates a lot, in my opinion, it will eliminate a lot of the problems that we're having today when we're looking at the outside. We're looking at the superficial, the color of the skin, the texture of the hair, the color of the eyes. These things don't matter because you close your eyes and they all go away. So if we were all blind, what prejudice would we have?
You know the saying that says to love your neighbor as yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we understood and be conscious of the fact that we are connected, then you understand. It's almost like when you have two men breaking out of jail and they're handcuffed together, right?
Right.
Each one of them has the incentive to keep the other one alive, because if that man dropped dead and I'm trying to run, I can't escape.
That's a weight. Right.
Right. So if we all understood that we are connected in that fashion,
then
we wouldn't be perpetuating hatred and all these things to each other, because then you understand that if I hurt that man, I'm hurting myself. And therefore, if you love yourself and want to see yourself prosper, then you have to see that the other person prosper. You have to love them in the same way. But again, we are not taught these things in society. We're taught separation, we're taught fear, we're taught hatred, we're taught prejudices and all of these things.
Right.
And these things they drive us apart, and then the end result of that is violence and crime and all of these ugly things in the world. Because it is funny how you have two sets of people that says they believe in the same God, but yet they go at each other with knives and guns and bombs and all these things.
Exactly. Exactly. So. It's crazy. Marlon just posted it in the pot. I thought I invented the IPS for end of year music chart tabulation, only to find out that the system has been used by Billboard for 50 years, and it had a name. I had never heard of it. I've never heard of IPS before I came across it that day. But he sat down and he put something together, and that was his thing. We need to stop and think on these things, and not just look at it with, again, just or given our physical eyes. And the Indian culture, would talk about the chakra and being connected through the third eye, which is interesting because you find that looking back in history and checking hieroglyphics and such, you'll find that coming through Egyptian, the Egyptian culture. The funny thing about the Egyptian and the Greek culture, especially the Greeks, is that the Greeks came over to Africa to learn, to study.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the Greeks took it from Egypt and Africa. Well, Egypt is in Africa, so from Africa. So these are the things that we often don't connect. We don't connect the dots when we see them. We think that one is over on the East Coast and the other one is over on the West Coast somewhere, and they don't connect. No. You need to connect your dots.
Even the scripture that says, if the eye be single, the body is full of light. And there are some people that say, and that was a verse that Christ spoke. That's something that Christ said in the Bible. And there are some people that say they believe he's alluding to the third eye.
Right.
Where it says, if the eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. So.
And when you take into consideration the time and place that the Bible says Jesus existed in, why wouldn't he be aware of the third eye?
He was in Egypt.
Why wouldn't he be aware? We take things and we apply them to us now.
Yeah.
And say that is how it was then in another time, in another space. But no. Take things in the context which they were.
Right.
And remember now, we are also reading a translation. And not just a regular straight translation, but a translation which was structured or designed to fit a community.
Right.
So these are other things that need to be taken into consideration, which is why I don't have anything against another religion. I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. So have your religion, whatever it may be. But our connection, if you really want us to connect, we need to connect on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
And we'll be cool forever. if that is where we are.
I know some of the people that I've come across in life that I find to be more peaceful and loving and open-minded are people who are spiritual. Their lifestyle is spiritual, But I've even been in churches and seen people fussing. Super religious people.
But that's just it right there. You said it.
Yeah.
They're religious.
Yeah.
They're not spiritual.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is what even the Rastafarian culture will which is why there's so much conflict, in my opinion, with them too. You have the Rastafarians on a more spiritual level.
Yeah.
And then you have the Christian coming with a structured religion. Well, if you're looking at an elephant from two different angles, you're going to describe it in two different ways.
Yeah.
Bridget, I'm definitely gonna have to. This is to be continued. There's more to this. To be continued next Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Real talk. We will continue on this particular topic, focusing on the third eye seeing. CL, much respect, bro. Get your notes together, get your memories together, because next week we're back on it again. Come next Wednesday, real talk for real.
Yeah, but I'll be here. I'll be here, brother. I'll be here.
All right, much respect.
Respect. Give thanks.
Blessings, man.
All right.
Now, ladies and friends, one and all, I don't have much time for any musical therapy tonight. I do want to give thanks to my segment sponsors, Reggae Global. Thank you to Reggae Global for sponsoring the third segment. Reggae Global takes care of your bookings, your tour management, social media marketing, copyrights, publishing, trademarks, business registrations, and so much more. Music productions, marketing and promotion. Give them a call, 954-998-8034, or visit them at reggaeglobalentertainment.com. Tell them you heard about them on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. And of course, thanks to GMAT Music Solutions. We didn't have musical therapy, but I'm going to give you a piece of this tune from Jadon from his album 369 called We Grow. And thanks to GMAT Music Solutions, GMAC provides sound, light, stage production services, musical equipment, audio engineers, DJs, bands, singers, musicians, PA systems, and so much more. Give them a call, 754-307-4622, or easy way to remember it, 754-307-GMAC. Also, you can check them out at gmacmusicsolutions.com. Thank you, one and all, for tuning in. Do remember to check out all the affiliates and friends. You have Donnie Walker, WGLRO. He has a morning show tomorrow morning, 6 to 10 on WGLRO. You have Clinton Lindsay on the Foundation Radio Network, clintonlindsay.com. He is on from 12 to 3 Eastern Time. You have Melissa, I almost said Melissa Lady Song. She doesn't use that anymore. Melissa Jane Show. Tomorrow evening from 9 p.m. You can check her out on social media, on Facebook Live. There is G. Cole, Homegrown with G. Cole, also on Facebook Live. You have DP, Damian Phillips with Lifestyles. You have Marlon, Real Rockers, every Monday and Wednesday. Check out Marlon, look him up, follow him on social media, Real Rockers Radio. Ladies and friends, everybody, gentlemen, not to say that none of the ladies are my friends. Let me make sure to clear that up. But one and all, much respect, much love. Do remember to look out for members of your community. And your community is not just development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. So those that you pass on the bus, on the plane, on the boat, on the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. Do something good for one of them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow. My name is DJ Kevin Stew. This is how I like to do it to you, with you, and for you every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday right here, kevinstew.com, 10 to midnight. Right? Call a friend, tell a friend, let them know all about it, because we'll be here with you to go through it. This is Jadon from his album 369. It's called We Grow. Encouraging it to be good, but if you can't be good at it. Y'all take care until
losing and winning, we grow. Hard work is all that I know. I saw me, I go build my future. Losing and winning, we grow. Hard work is all that I know. I saw me, I go build my future. Hey. Ready for make some world move. Ready for share some world views. Watch you listen on the IQ. I got you lifting on your IQ. Has nothing no hard to do. Show me never say it hard. Tell her why you have to pre-say it easy. Enough time me hungry. Pretty days when me never have no money. Me never stop work. Come and know this have work. Never get comfortable. No go say Jordan dash we convert. Losing and winning we grow. Hard work is all that I know. I saw me I go build my future. Losing and winning we grow. Hard work is all that I know. I saw me I go build my future. You never done until it's over. I am it from you. Now wait till me get older.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.